スタジオ3万
In a world of dungeons, dragons, and devious DMs, 4 adventurers set out to save the mysterious land of Bleoflow.
I'm Frank Bunty, Dwarven Paladin and all-round badass. I like nothing more than righting wrongs and smiting evil.
I'm Bonarail, a half-elf rogue that'll rob you blind and mess you up.
I'm Lord Sugar, a human wizard noble. I'm rich, I'm better than everyone, and I set fire to everything.
I'm Draco Justice, Dragonborn Monk. For when justice calls, who will answer? I will. I'm Draco Justice.
And I'm Doddy, the resident DM. I'll be throwing everything at these guys, including the kitchen sink. Ooh, a mimic kitchen sink.
Nerd OD&D from the Nod Network. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else you get podcasts.
So it was just a day full of cows, of cow-related stuff.
That's true.
Which was utterly delightful.
I bet. Hello, welcome to another edition of the ever awesome Nerd OD podcast with your host Dan.
And me, Reg.
Yeah, I like the musicality of your introduction there, Reg.
Oh yeah.
You think one day we could do a musical episode like a lot of sitcoms when they're starting to get a little bit, I don't know, a little bit tired and old in the tooth, they do a musical episode. You know,
So
like
next
Scrubs
week
did
then,
it, Grey's Anatomy apparently did it. Glee did it all the time. It was weird. It's like they didn't have any other thing to do.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
Wow, that is that the first Glee reference that we've done to the Nerd OD pod? Because it used to be our reason for why Sean never made it on pod.
It's true. Sean did have a little bit of a Glee obsession. But I don't think anyone has a Glee obsession anymore.
No.
Sort of, it lost its thing, didn't it?
That's a shame.
It's like a cursed show as well, like, because obviously there was the main character took that, he had a drug overdose, didn't he, and died. One of the guys got arrested for, I want to say, underage images. It's probably the most PC way of saying it, without iTunes or any like Spotify going, yeah, we can't have this on our platform. Something like that. And then there was another one recently. Another one of the cast died, like drowned, didn't she?
Oh wow!
Fell out of a boat, and her daughter was on the boat, and then it was horrible. Anyway, hi, welcome.
I was going to say, this started off dark.
Sorry, I just wanted
quite
to
an entertaining,
yeah,
future episode of just the musical.
It's fine because exactly. Next time it'll be nothing but positivity. It'll be music. What angle would we take? Do you think it would be a proper like like Andrew Lloyd Webber style musical, like Joseph or something like that, or do you think we'd go down the Hamilton route?
Without saying Hamilton, I'd probably say Hamilton.
Okay. Well, I just mean like not really singing, more rapping, rap talking.
Both.
It's a bit of mix of both.
I think depending on what the story is, or what the news is, depends on the style of the actual
when
song.
we're talking about people from Glee being dead or arrested, it's like a ballad, right?
Has to be, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And talking of musical, did you watch any of Eurovision, Reg?
I will say that's a big fat 0.
Yeah, I would say out of the last, say, 4 or 5 Eurovisions, I've watched 3 of them. So it's not like I'm a fan. It's not like I go away to watch them. But I've definitely decided I really, really enjoy watching it on in the background with other people. So those 3 times I've watched it have all been at people's houses or something like that. And now we're allowed to have minimal people enter our abodes. I had Sean round. So Sean, who hasn't got time to podcast, but he's definitely got time to come all the way to my house and eat all the food that I made. And Claire, they both came around and we watched Eurovision, the 4 of us. It was wonderful. It's a fun little evening.
That sounds delightful.
It's because I got to cook lots of delicious food, which I like cooking for other people. It's something I enjoy.
I do like your cooking.
Thank you.
Your cooking.
Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate it. Well, invite yourself around sometime.
I will. Do I have to give you like advance warning, or do you?
Well, we only decided about 5 hours before Eurovision started that people could come round. Sean was like, "Does anyone want to come around and watch? I'll buy some nibbles or something." And then Claire said, "You can come to mine. I'll just buy pizza." And he goes, "No. Eurovision requires nibbles, not pizzas." And I said, "Well, I'll cook." And they were like, "Okay, we'll come to yours." And then there we go. The rest is history.
I was devouring a 40-ounce tomahawk steak while you were watching Eurovision.
40 ounce. What's a typical when you buy a steak? What is a typical?
It's usually between 8 to 12.
Okay, because I don't, regardless of whether I eat meat or not, I've never eaten steak.
I don't understand that concept. Not eat meat, just the fact that you've never gone like, you know what, I'm going to eat steak.
I find it really boring. I for some reason I like it. I like the same meat, like minced up and put into a hamburger shape. It's the same thing, really. It's just, something about that form. I've had steaks before, and I don't know. I don't feel like I get that much out of it. I'm not
right. So you have had steak.
I've had a steak. Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's just when you said that you've never had
a steak at a quite good place as well. So I was like, you know what? It was when I previously got married. Oh. Yeah, when I was getting married the first time, which we don't talk about. I went with my in-laws to the restaurant at one of the places we were looking at going to eat, and I was a little bit pickier on my food back then. But I was just like, none of this sounds appealing. But okay, do you know what? I'm at a posh restaurant. I'm not paying. Let's have a steak. And I had the steak, and I was like, yeah, it was fine. Although one of my favorite meals I've ever had anywhere was actually steak, kind of, in Tokyo. It was this thing called gyukatsu. So katsu is breaded anything. So when you have a katsu curry, it's not the curry that's the katsu, it's the breaded chicken or whatever you have. So it was steak that was it was barely cooked. So the outside was sealed, and it was coated in breadcrumbs, which is kind of weird, obviously. You don't do that very often with steak. But you had this little burner on your table, so they put a little firelighter in it. It looked like a sort of almost a candle, like incense burner type thing. And it heated up a tile on the top of it, and you would take your steak, and it was cut into strips, and you would place it on top of it, and it would cook it. It would cook the rest of it to however your liking was. And it was one of the most amazing meals I've ever had in my life. I absolutely loved it. So, steak. But anyway, 40 ounces?
Yeah, 40-ounce tomahawk steak. It was Ash's birthday on Eurovision night.
Okay.
So we had plans to go to the fanciest steak place in Chester. Okay. And then literally a week before they messaged us to be like, yeah, unfortunately we're now closed for renovation. I was like,
I mean, why not do that? Yeah. While you can actually open and make money. No, it's not like you've been shut for 3 months.
All right. So we were like, right, okay. So we decided we were going to go to a steak place in Mold, which is called Just Steak.
Okay.
Which, despite the name, sells more than just steak.
Well, what is even the point?
But it is incredible. It's like it's weird because when it first opened, it had gospel singers and stuff there, and it was like
right.
it sounded insanely fancy and really nice. And they used to come around, and instead of menus, apparently it was pictures of a cow, and you'd just be like, I want it from there.
Right.
And,
okay.
That's how you chose it all.
And then you would see in some kind of American road trip movie where they're in Texas and they stop at a little roadside restaurant and they bring out the cow and you point at it, and then it's a big challenge, and then one of them throws up, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I suppose.
But with a piece of paper.
Yeah, but with a fancier version of that.
Okay, sounds good.
But then when we went, it's turned into I suppose one of the the places like
Hickories.
No, a bit like a Barno's or an Almost Famousy, like that,
Okay.
like that type of place. But
Excuse us while we just mention lots of local restaurants that none of you have ever heard.
Well, loads of people should know, like Almost Famous, or I'm trying to think of like American.
I don't think there's any outside the Northwest, but yeah,
but they're not.
I don't think so. I think you sort of Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool, that sort of area. But it's
a very contemporary sort of like modern take on a restaurant. It's not like a fancy sit down meal, but it's not like a fast foody type place either. It's like a bespoke venue. So this one is like you sit on like back ends of cows as stools.
Okay, they're really leaning on this cow thing.
Well, yeah, that's where 98% of their income comes from is cows. So I suppose we do. And you're in like, it sounds really bad, but it's not. It's like cattle grids, and the grids all around you, and so it feels like you're being like herded into it all.
I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna guess they do not serve their food on plates.
They do.
What?
They do.
I mean, good on them. Thank goodness, but that really shocks me.
Yeah, you thought it would just been on a bit of turf.
Yeah, exactly, or like a shovel or something like that.
Yeah, but no, it's not that. And their steak knives are the biggest steak knives I've ever had in my life. I looked at it and I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like,
it had a 40-ounce tomahawk steak then.
Yeah, fair dues. But it was funny because we went from literally going, we're going to go to this nice fanciest steak place ever, and we're going to have a really nice romantic, sit across from each other, just like have a nice little steak, peppercorn sauce and the chips and whatnot, as we have a lovely conversation about other things, to just literally tear it apart, a 40-ounce steak in the middle of a cattle grid bit. And I was like, yeah. So the change in the atmosphere and the surrounding of the night is completely gone, and it's now just hey, we've got another free night. Let's just smash back a shit ton of food, have a few drinks, and go home, and then literally sit around Netflix for half an hour deciding what to watch before you fall asleep because you're that full.
Yeah, food coma. I remember those. So
it was fun times, but it was good. And we went to the ice cream farm before it as well.
Ah, awesome.
Which was utterly delightful.
I bet.
So it was just a day full of cows, of cow-related stuff.
That's true. Wow.
Which is great. But now, obviously, they've opened everything back up again. We bought Oliver a play pass to go to this bit. So you get like a card.
Yes.
And it's got like 25 little segments on it. So you get 25 plays of whatever is there. And we bought it, and then we went, and it pissed down rain, so we had to stop it, and then we went into lockdown. So we've had this card for like a year and a half. I'm like, he's literally had chance to go on one thing before like we left for the day.
Yeah.
So when we were there.
Sorry, I was just going to say the ice cream farm, basically Cheshire Farm ice cream, is a local hotspot. It's like the most ridiculously over the top ice cream shop and farm you've ever seen. It is pretty amazing, but it's almost like a little mini theme park, but everything is just amazing. It's not like these cheap little rubbish things. They spent an awful lot of money in making a huge like play area for kids and go-karts and everything. So just to give people a little bit of understanding. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so I was going to say, we literally started off, we go in there and, do all your little COVID checks and whatnot. And then we were like, right, what do you want to go on first? And he chose they built this huge, awesome, like water and sand building. You go in and it's just got like loads of like stainless steel bowls and bassinets and like apparatus that the kids can use to wind water up and create massive puddles and mini lakes and that sort of stuff. And the building's huge, to be fair. Like it's got nothing for us adults. It's literally for the kids.
Yeah.
To go through with. And then the second half of it is all like part sand, and you can, just play around in the sand pits, and you've got stuff to sand to go down and create castles and all this sort of stuff with. And he was in there for like a good hour and a half, just literally going on all these different things, loving life.
Before or after you'd had ice cream?
This was before ice cream.
Waiting for ice cream. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, you have to finish the day with the ice cream at the ice cream farm.
I would say bookend the day, Reg.
Because the state that you can get in, and then having to, if it was just me and you that went, then midday, whatever, however you want to do it then. But with him, he's so excited to see everything and do everything. It's got to be get everything done in the day. And like his least favorite part of the ice cream farm is literally the ice cream.
Wow.
So you do that at the end.
Reg, I'm completely wrong there, Reg. Come on.
Well, not really, because like he if you're a 2-year-old, do you want to sit down on a seat for like half hour and eat something cold, or do you want to go on go-karts, bouncy marshmallows, trampolines? Like
I don't
like
remember. Is my honest answer.
The correct answer then, Dan, is you don't want to sit down for ages. It's only when you're knackered you're like, go on then, I'll sit down. So that's what we have to do. We have to literally get him on absolutely everything for like 5 hours, and then go, "Ooh, would you like some ice cream?" And he's like, "Does it mean I get to sit down?" Yeah, okay. And then he went and he chose the ice cream, and I was like, "Go on, mate, you can choose." And it's literally, you've got huge like ice cream vats, haven't they? That are there. Like we've got 20 different tubs on each row, and there's like 3 rows going down, and each one's different flavors of just crazy stuff. So like Ferrero Rocher, you've got like aniseed and lemon. Was the last one that I was like, that's a bit weird. But I had peanut butter, caramel, and chocolate was one of my ice creams. The bubble gum, obviously, you have to get because it's the greatest thing that they do.
I like the raspberry Oreo one.
Yeah, that's quite nice. The raspberry Oreo white chocolate one. Yeah, that's good. I had that as well. And I said to Oliver, I was like, right, choose how would you like it? And last time he wanted it in the cone with all the sprinkles, the big fancy ones that are like £3 more than the bog standard cone. And I was like, which one would you want? And he's like, ooh, that. And then he's seen a kid have the cup that's got like a cow's face on it or a duck's face on it, and he can put an ice cream scoop in there.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, no, wait, hold that. I want that. And so he was like, oh, like really excited. So I was like, go on then. Since it's your mum's birthday, you can have whatever you want as well. So he had the cup, even though he's got like 3 at home already. And I was like, which ice cream would you like? And the woman was laughing, going, oh, which one would you like? Would you like, oh, this one's banana? And he was like, nah. She's like, chocolate? He was like, nah. And he was like, pointing to like the rum and raisin. And I was like, no, you can't have the rum and raisin because you're 2. And I was like, why don't we have this one? And it's like the unicorn one.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah. And he was like, look at all the different ones. And he was like, that one. And I was like, no, you can't have the rum and raisin one. And I was like, why don't we move away from that one? And I was like, look at this one. Ooh, peanut butter. You like peanut butter? And he was like, ooh, nah. So I was like, I'll have peanut butter on my one. And he was like, yeah, I'll have it then. I'm like, no, I'm having it. I'm going to eat yours because you're blatantly not going to finish it. So you're going to have something different than what I'm going to have. So we'll do it this way. So like he eventually was like, go on then, I'll have the unicorn one. So because I was like, the episode of Teen Titans Go where Starfire and Raven talk about the unicorns, and he was like, yeah. So he started pointing to the unicorn one. So I was like, brilliant. And then as soon as she stuck it in, he was like, no, and pointing to the chocolate one. And I was like, I am really sorry. And she started laughing. She's like, don't worry about it. So she took it out, put in the chocolate one. And then he's like, no. And I was like, oh my God, just fucking stop making her put in ice cream scoops into the cup and just choose one, because otherwise I'm going to have to pay for all of these. So just choose one scoop and you can have it. And in the end, I was like, can you just put 3 scoops in the cup and I will just mix them up? She's like, we're only supposed to put 1 in. I was like, can I have 3? I will pay for them, obviously. Can you just put the 3 he shows in? And she was like, yeah, go on then. So like he did that. And then he changed his mind about the cup completely and just wanted it in a cone. So I was like, can I also have a cone? I'll just separately, just no ice cream, just buy a cone. She's like, yeah, no worries. So we had like the full shebang of everything, with like sprinkles and M&Ms and whatnot on it. Not M&Ms, Smarties on it. And the good thing is we could give him all this stuff. And then when the hype was just about to kick in and he'd just go absolutely mental, we were like, right, Ash's mum and dad, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock and we're off for the day. You need to put up with Oliver going mental. So, and apparently he didn't sleep till about like 2:30 in the morning or something because he was that wired from literally having ice cream and going back and having chocolate cake to celebrate Ash's birthday. That he was just literally going crazy the entire day, like climbing walls and stuff. So that was.
And you didn't care because you had 40 ounces of meat inside you.
Yeah, 40 ounces of meat, and I had the chips. You had two different types of chips. You had white truffle chips.
Okay.
And you also had beef dripping chips, which were just like insanely good, and their onion rings were just like on fire.
Okay.
So it was a beautiful day, just dedicated solely to meat, and just completely ruined the evening because we were that stuffed. You couldn't even like, do you want to put on the film? She's like, yeah. What do you want to watch? I really don't care. I'm too full. I'm like, right, okay. Excellent. So we, like I said, we flicked through Netflix for like a good like half hour before deciding, sod that, we're not going to watch any of that. We'll watch the finale of Taskmaster, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started watching that Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet.
Okay, yep.
So yeah.
Well, it sounds like an awesome day. But do you know who didn't have an awesome day? Or at least an awesome evening?
The guy from Eurovision.
Yeah, James Newman.
Nil point.
I mean, it's happened lots to the UK. That is a famous fact that we've got 0 points. I don't know, a lot of times. A good percentage of Eurovision finals, we've got 0 points because the Europe just hates us. Yes. More so now. Since they brought in, have you seen how it works now? You have all your jury votes, and they give out like 12 points. And 10 and 8 and 6 and 5, 4, 3, yeah. And then you get the public vote, which is totally separate. So they go through all the jury votes, and then in reverse order they go through what score each country got from the phone voting from around Europe. Yeah. So obviously they start off with whoever has 0 or very low. And then they announce, well, the percentage of the vote that they got gives it this amount of points. So generally, the people who win, they might be standing on about 200 points at the beginning, at the end of the jury vote. And then when you bring in a tele vote, it's like, here's another 400 points. So someone like in this case, where Italy, where I think we're about 6th or something like that after the jury vote, suddenly they got it's insane amounts of points and jumped up. But because it's so weirdly weighted, I remember the last time they did it, I think I might have only done it once. No one got 0. It was like everyone got 12 points or something like that. So there's a few points. In this, the bottom 4 teams all got 0. Unfortunately, that meant that the UK got absolutely zilch. And the thing is, I was really curious how I wish they'd announced this is how each country voted. But I found an article that says, so apparently 60% of the voting countries put the United Kingdom in the bottom 2.
Wow.
Yeah. The best we did, so let me see, I think, Malta put us at number 14 out of 26 entries.
Wow.
Our average was 23.4. If you took the whole 26 countries. And in fact, Poland almost gave us a point. They put us at 11th. So if we'd have been just a little bit better, that's out the jury, that is. If the jury had thought, we were a little bit better than that, they would have given us a point. Now, I don't get is why don't we ever put anyone good forward for it?
I don't know. Didn't there used to be a thing?
Yes, there absolutely used to be. Now there is not, because one of the countries, I can't remember which one, had Flow Rider.
Yeah, that was.
Granted, he was guesting, but still.
Oh, what the hell? Uruguay or something?
No, that's not Europe.
Morocco. No,
it might be Morocco. That sounds about right.
Yeah, something stupid like that. Not stupid, but something like that.
Yeah. San Marino.
San Marino. That's it. San Marino. That's the badger.
When everyone was walking in at the beginning, everyone was appearing, walking out of the doors, and they were like, "It's Great Britain, it's France," and the act came out for San Marino, and I, as a joke, went, "It looks like Flow Rider," and then he went, and Graham Norton went, "And he's got Flow Rider with him." I'm like, what is Flow Rider doing at Eurovision? That shouldn't be allowed. Surely it should be someone from your. I get he was a guest. The thing is, it didn't make a difference. I think people almost went, "Yeah, we're not voting for them." But I still don't get why, like the Italian act that won were apparently quite big in around sort of the Italian speaking part of the world. So they almost get that little bit of a head start. Whereas we've got stuff like, send like Little Mix or something like that, and surely you're going to get some votes. You want to avoid getting zero, right?
Yeah, I don't understand why we actually just take part in it, because we're
one of the big five. We pay for an awful lot of it. So the big five are the countries that mostly fund it.
I know,
so we're automatically through. No, I agree.
Never do anything in it, but always.
No.
So why bother?
TV ratings? I don't know. That's it, But yeah, if we didn't appear in it, I doubt it would make any difference to anyone, other than it would save the BBC a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah.
Someone needs to put it on the side of a bus that if we stop funding Eurovision, we can fund a hospital for a day and a half.
That's true.
There you go.
Or stop paying the BBC license fee, and then everyone will be like, yes, that's it. That's the reason why I pay for Eurovision.
Yeah. And that's weird as well. I was reading a Reddit post about someone saying, I've decided I'm going to stop paying the license fee because I don't watch BBC. I won't use iPlayer, so I feel like I'm fine with it. What can I expect? And people were like, well, if you declare to them you're not going to pay it, then you will start to get letters, and then you will get people coming around your house, and you can just tell them to get lost. If you want them to absolutely stop it, you need to sort of write them a letter quoting legal precedents and stuff like that, like stop sending your people because they're trespassing on my land. And I was thinking about it, like I can't remember how much a TV license is, but I think it's more than Netflix, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
£13, £20,
something like that a month.
Yeah.
And there's very little I watch on BBC. I think Shell would be disappointed as you couldn't watch MasterChef and RuPaul's Drag Race. But at the same time, is it worth, I'm like, it took me ages to go, I should pay £7 to get Amazon Prime. All right, go on, let's pay that. Yeah, I'm quite happily paying £13 a month for a TV license for something I barely really use. But
you know what? It's something I never even think about, but yeah.
No, it literally is. And it's like a whole other subscription, isn't it? Yeah, and it definitely used to be, I'm certain of it, that it used to be if your TV was capable of receiving TV signal, then it was
mandatory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To the point where I forget whether it was my dad's church, I think it might have been, or it might have just been a story I heard where they just destroyed the aerial input on the TV. So it could not possibly, it had a SCART or whatever, so they could play DVDs because that's all they used it for. But yeah, anyway, I definitely feel like, if we want to get better than 0 points, send someone decent. If we don't, that's fine. We get a bit of press from having 0 points, but I don't know.
Yeah, you would never want to be next year's artist, would you?
Well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why likes of Little Mix, etc., are just like, yeah, we don't want to be getting involved with that.
It's a very political thing, isn't it? So it's a shame, really. You should keep the politics out of the music.
True. Very true. I don't know. Have you heard about... Are you aware of something called an NFT?
Yes.
Okay, and you know the concept of it and what exactly it is?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because it took me a while to get my head around it when I heard about them a couple of months ago. But ultimately, it's like, for people who don't know, an NFT... It's a non-fungible transaction. So, and essentially, it is an item that is digital, but there can only be one or X amount. Whatever they decide, there can only be this amount. And granted, if someone made a photo, you could just copy the photo. It's not like that. It uses cryptocurrency, like the bit of the thingy chain, I forget what they call it, to the blockchain, to like almost serialize that item to say this is this item. So when you buy it, it is yours, is your property. You can then sell it on for a profit or whatever, or you can collect them. So lots of artists and YouTubers and musicians and all sorts of stuff have made these items, and a lot of them are just taking things that are very popular already and just saying, here's an NFT of it. And the only reason that people are doing it is because then people are deciding that they're worth more than they paid for it originally, just like Bitcoin at the end of the day. But the big one this week was that, do you remember Charlie bit my finger?
I was reading this. How ridiculous. And his excuse for doing it.
Well, no, I mean, if you've got something like that, you know, any meme that you're involved in, that you've made probably very little money out of it because it was just something you stuck out on the internet back before you could really make money out of things, then why, you know, absolutely go for it. To make as much money as you can out of that meme. I don't understand why someone bought it. Like, well, I think they own the video technically now. That was part of the deal as well with that, but again, not that is the point of it. They could put it back onto the marketplace now and say, right, well, I paid $80,000 for it or whatever it went for, or whatever it's going for. I'm not sure. Is it finished?
It's finished. It went for like 560 something thousand.
Okay, so that value for that item now has been set. That is what it's worth. So someone else just needs to come in and say, all right, yeah, it's just like art, isn't it? At the end of the day, I will pay 600,000 for that. I want it for more, and it's worth what the market says it's worth, which again is exactly like a painter makes a painting. When he's not popular, he might sell them for 20 quid down by the canal, just painting things and selling them for next to nothing. And then when he's really famous, he can sell them for like 250 grand or whatever. And it's exactly the same item. It's just the market's decided that thing is worth this amount. At least with this, and it was the same with do you know the YouTube channel H3H3? Have you seen Vape Nation?
Can't say I have.
All right, it was a really big popular video, like tens of millions of views, about back when vaping was taken off, and the guy dressed up as this stereotypical vapor and just went around going Vape Nation. And there's a lot more to it. It's kind of funny, but they auctioned that off as an NFT, and they said, that is your video then, you know, that they've made an awful lot of money off from YouTube from advertising on that video, but they're like, that is whoever gets the NFT, there's only one of them, and that is then your video. You own that video. So at least you're getting something kind of physical with it, I guess. You're getting the ad revenue, maybe. But yeah, it's an odd thing. I get it. I would never invest in it, but it just seems to be the thing that people are doing. Baby Metal did one recently. There was 100. I think it was 100, maybe 1,000. I think it was 100 of these of these NFTs, but and they were $100, but you got a special limited edition vinyl of the new 10 Years of Baby Metal album. So you at least, again, got something physical for it, and I guarantee, like, because they weren't auctioned, they were just, you can buy it at this much. I guarantee they'll be worth more than that, because I mean, even getting a vinyl of some of the old stuff is probably more than 100 quid. So the fact it's really limited and you got something physical out of it, you know, I kind of get that when there's something physical, but yeah, other than that, it's very weird. I don't know. I don't know whether you've seen that we've now started the official NerdOD TikTok. We got on that bandwagon, Reg. Yeah. I mean, my plan for it is not to do TikToks like they are typical, like, let's say, like Sean does. You know, it's another way to get this sort of stuff out there. So I might post clips from the podcast and stuff, or we've got an awful lot of like Comic-Con stuff. I think that'd live quite nicely there, you know, just little minute clips of the songs or the games and stuff like that. So started doing that, but I was on the account the other day. So I think it was last night in the States, it was Comic Relief. So they apparently have Comic Relief there as well. Yes. And they had a concert that they streamed live on TikTok, which was Coldplay. It's half an hour, and it was literally Coldplay singing a load of songs off the new album. And I was flicking through the sort of the TikTok feed, and it got to an advert for this, and it was Chris Martin. I'm just going to try and find his clip because I just found it so funny. Hold on, Coldplay. It was him on the camera going, "Hey, this is Chris Martin from Coldplay. We're going to be doing our first ever TikTok concert." And he just this pause and like breath, almost like, I hate that I'm saying these words, but TikTok concert. I'm just going to find it now because it was brilliant. Here we go.
Chris from the band Coldplay, and we'd love you to join us for our first ever concert on TikTok.
I don't know why that took me so much, but when I saw that the concert was actually happening, so I flicked on it, and it was literally think about it anyway. TikTok is a vertical video platform, right?
Yeah.
Concerts, generally, the band are not all standing very close together. They are spread out across the stage. So you pretty much need that to be horizontal, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't, quite easily if they'd filmed it horizontally, people would have just turned the phones, right? But no, they had this vertical video. And all the money that Coldplay and TikTok and Comic Relief clearly have was definitely not wasted on this. It was clearly someone holding an iPhone or something, just running around the stage, filming them. Like, it was so shaky. Like, they hadn't even invested in a gimbal. Unfortunately, it's not. I don't think it's on like demand. I don't think you can rewatch it. But it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I have got better equipment than that, and I've spent next to nothing on the stuff we use.
Nice.
Absolutely crazy. But yeah, go to Nerd OD. It's just at Nerd OD. And there's only one thing there now, but there'll be more once I've got time. I promise. Or it'll just be like many of our other things, like our Twitch that we started that we never used, but put on our business cards. Oops.
Yeah, I did attempt to do a couple of them, and then I got booted off it, and then that Oliver and
yeah,
that happened.
It's typical.
Useless.
I went to see Godzilla vs Kong. You might be interested to hear, Edge. I went to the cinema. Lovely. It was empty and it was lovely. I went and bought a Subway and I sat on the back row in my big fat reclining chair and ate my Subway while watching Godzilla punch Kong lots.
And what was your outcome?
So I'd heard an awful lot of bad things, like people complaining about just bad story and it was just pointless. It was just one excuse after the other to have them fighting. And do you know what? It was probably the best of the bunch. That doesn't mean it was good. It was still pretty badly written, but it was kind of entertaining. I remember watching King of the Monsters and just being really completely bored out of my mind. Although when I say best of the bunch, Skull Island was by far the best, but I just mean out of the Godzilla movies, really.
Right, yeah.
There was just an awful lot of, like things you would expect in like a 90s/2000 action movie, just which I thought we were past by now. And I'm sure I've said this about a lot of things over the podcast history, but I don't know. I feel like with some of the quality action movies we've been treated to over the last sort of decade, Hollywood's better than this now. Things like, it's just, every DC movie just ends in a massive battle. Speaking of which, I was forced, not necessarily forced, I was like, oh yeah, let's give it another go. Watched Aquaman last night.
Right.
Shelter, like, I want to watch that, let's have a look. And I just thought maybe my memory of it just is a bit skewed and maybe I'll enjoy it a little bit more now. And no, it's really bad. Really, really bad. But anyway, Godzilla vs Kong was better. Things like there's a massive Godzilla turns up at this big science facility in Florida down by the coast and he destroys it all completely. Like they only have a few minutes warning that Godzilla's coming and then he just destroys the whole thing, destroys a pier, half a city, and then the next thing you see is a news report and it's like, oh, Godzilla attacked a town in Florida. There are 8 dead, dozens injured. I'm like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that only 8 people died. That's things like that. It's just incredibly badly written. And then the whole Millie Bobby Brown storyline, like they brought her in on the last movie. And I get, why they did because she's obviously quite popular. And it kind of, as I mean, is she even a child actor anymore? But as a sort of an actor playing a kid in a movie, she's pretty good. She is quite a good actress. She's a bit over the top at times, but she's kind of good. But her whole storyline is entirely pointless. Like she basically befriends this podcaster who's like conspiracy theorist, saying about everything that's happening with the with Godzilla and Mothra and King Kong and everything like that. And he obviously everyone thinks that he's talking rubbish, but turns out he's the only one really who is accurate with everything. So they go on this whole quest to find out exactly what's going on, and they end up in Hong Kong, where there's this huge massive battle at the end of Godzilla vs Kong, and someone else, in case people haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it because it was quite a nice little twist to see this character show up, but they end up saving the day, but no one knows about it. It's just there's something that happens behind the scenes that this complete side story that no one else is aware of or cares about happens, and then suddenly they do something. They like press a button and like, oh, everyone's saved. It's great. But even there, they're so badly written. Like things like she's got this friend who takes they need a van so they can drive to see this podcaster. So her friend steals his brother's van. And when he pulls up at her place, he's blasting out music and he's playing Breaking the Law. That breaking the law.
Yeah.
Like that's just so badly. That's so on the nose. Like, yes, he's stolen a car. Let's play Breaking the Law. And even though these people know each other for all of about an hour or two at this certain point, suddenly Millie Bobby Brown and the podcaster character have got this secret handshake that they do. And it's like that. Did you really spend 45 minutes of that hour that you've known each other that we didn't see you learning a secret handshake?
I was going to say,
it's stupid. This always happens. I talk more about a movie and suddenly I start to like it less. But the King Kong stuff and then the Godzilla stuff and the fights were pretty good. There's a bit of a stupid fight where they're taking King Kong on a big like aircraft carrier, big huge ship to some other place, and Godzilla and King Kong apparently used to be rivals, so Godzilla hunts him down and suddenly they have this big fight and they're in the middle of the ocean, so obviously they can't stand up. Godzilla can swim. King Kong is standing on this huge ship. There's a bit where he jumps and lands on another ship, and then Godzilla comes along and stands on it as well, and the ship is just like rocking about. The ship would completely break in half the minute Godzilla or King Kong touched it, let alone jumped onto it. So things like that are just a little bit stupid. But as long as you can sort of check your mind out, just be like, this is a fun little film of big monsters fighting. I can deal with it. So it was pretty good. I feel like the people who live in America who got to watch it technically for free on HBO Max probably did pretty well out of it. I only paid $5, so I'm kind of happy with that. And maybe it was because it was my first visit to the cinema in goodness knows how long, but yeah, it was fine. So, but what I didn't think was that great, and you haven't seen it, you told me, but Army of the Dead's launched on Netflix now, which is the next Zack Snyder film. Which we when we talked about Justice League, and we were saying about he likes to do his director's cuts, where he just puts every last bit that he's filmed into his films, because like if I wrote this, it's worth filming. But generally they come out as director's cuts, like Watchmen did and Justice League. Because Netflix clearly has no time constraints, I feel like this was his director's cut from the start, because it's so long and so drawn out. Like the whole intro sequence is pretty much a slow-mo montage trying to introduce all the characters but showing all the zombies running and rampaging through. And it lasts about 8 minutes. It's just the longest credit sequence I think I've ever seen. Insane. And what I didn't realize, when he wrote it originally, it was a Dawn of the Dead sequel. Yeah, and when I read that, I was like, what? Why would he be doing a Dawn of the Dead? And then I remembered, he did the remake of Dawn of the Dead, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, which wasn't that great, to be fair. I think, that's probably the only Zack Snyder film I've not seen. I say, considering at least two of his films, I love. But don't know. And do you know about the sort of the controversy with one of the actors? There's a comedian called Chris D'Elia, and he got cancelled last year. I forget exactly what, but some big issue. And they replaced him. So they'd filmed all of his parts. They filmed completely everything. The movie was finished, and then they decided, all right, we're going to take him out. We're going to recast him. And there's a comedian called Tig Notaro, who the only thing I've ever seen her in, she's in Star Trek Discovery. And basically they replaced all his parts with her, and she didn't meet any of the cast. They filmed it all either on location, digitally scrubbed him out, and digitally then put her in. We filmed her in front of green screen, and it's weird. I almost wish I didn't know, because the minute she turns up, there's a scene where she's a helicopter pilot, and she's fixing up her helicopter, and the two main characters kind of walk up towards her, and there's a chain link fence between them. And one of the guys calls her, and she's like, "Oh, hey, it's a long time no see." And they start talking about this mission they want to do, whether they're going to go to Vegas and whatnot. But you never see them in the same scene. It's them talking, and it cuts over to her, and I don't know whether it would have been obvious without knowing, but it feels just really one-sided, like she's clearly acting against no one. And then there's a couple of bits where you can see that they've digitally put her in. Well, whether you can see or not, I could just about make it out without, because I knew, and I don't know whether you would if you didn't. So hopefully I haven't just ruined half the movie for everyone who had no idea that was the case. But yeah, when you see her, just keep an eye out, and it starts to become really, really awkward and really apparent. But yeah, you said you didn't want to give it 2.5 hours of your time. I probably agree with that. Do you think you'll give the prequel that they're doing, Army of Thieves, any of your time? Apparently it's finished filming. It's not a Zack Snyder film. One of the actors in it as director. Right. It's going to Netflix. And then they're also doing an anime called Lost Vegas.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say, I've heard they went all in.
Yeah. Well, only Netflix supposedly would give them this free reign. Everyone else was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll let you do a movie. But he was like, no, I want to do this whole franchise. And Netflix were like, okay, great, go for it. Which, I mean, whatever you want to say about Zack Snyder, surely that's almost a given. If Zack Snyder comes to you and says, I've got this entire franchise for a zombie movie, you pretty much let him have a go, right?
Yeah, I suppose that bit makes sense, to be fair, because, well, especially most recently with the whole, him being everywhere due to the Justice League cut.
Yeah, exactly.
Through,
I wonder if they knew that was coming.
They've had to have done.
Yeah.
They've had to have done. No one else would be like, yeah, go on then. Seeing as your last one was so well respected and it didn't go down very well, the remake of Dawn of the Dead, that great. So I can't imagine that was before he did 300 even though, right? So he wasn't really a name at that point. I don't know what he did before that, but I know that it wasn't necessarily like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, whereas pretty much after 300 it would have been Zack Snyder presents Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so just to round out on movies, we surprisingly got the Eternals trailer yesterday.
Yeah.
So Monday this week.
It's a weird. So it's a teaser again, isn't it? Because I was just like,
which doesn't.
I wonder what this is actually going to be like.
Teaser though, does it? Let's face it. Half the time it is like here's a trailer, but it's a long way in advance, so we're calling it a teaser trailer.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this.
No. Okay. I think that's a good thing. Like the trailer for me, the trailer's really good at just showing you like, right, okay, look, this is what the movie's gonna look like. Here's a really rough idea of who the Eternals are, but let's keep everything else secret. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, it doesn't look like any other Marvel movie we've had so far. It looks, it looks real. Do you know what I mean? Like everything's filmed on location, which I suppose that's part of the point of having what's her name, Chloe Zhao, who just won an Oscar for Nomadland. She's well known for doing her sort of, very real adaptations of things. So a lot of at least what they showed in the trailer, apart from obviously a little bit of CGI where they're doing magic and things like that, it looked like they were there, which is good. I think that's a good thing. There was apparently a tweet when I was sort of reading up on it. So let me see, where is it? There's supposedly a fairly well respected sort of Hollywood insider called Eric Weber. And he'd originally said, before the Joker came out, he said Joaquin Phoenix was amazing. He was going to win an Oscar. And also that Wonder Woman 84 was going to be terrible. And people are like, well, do you know what? He was right about those two things. Maybe he's right about this. So apparently, he said, just got a text from a high-level source who tells me that Chloe Zhao crushed the Eternals and Marvel is almost in disbelief about what they have on their hands.
Wow.
Yeah. So if that's accurate, I don't think it'll be necessarily everyone's cup of tea. People who are just expecting, big explosions and fights and stuff. I think it's going to be quite a toned down.
Yeah, character driven.
Yeah, I'm all for that. To be honest, something different. Why not?
Yeah, I am. I suppose it's one of them, isn't it? It's like if you would have told me ages ago that I would be well and truly into a film that had like a talking raccoon and a tree on adventures, I'd be like, you know what? No, I'm not into that at all. And yet it turned out to be brilliant because it completely went against every expectation I've got.
Yeah.
With this, I'm just like, I genuinely don't know what to expect from it. And like you said, it's so completely different than everything. And I think that's what I'm liking so far about the trailers for stuff that's coming out. Because the other one, was it Shang-Chi? Yeah. Shang-Chi looks nothing like any of the other past Marvel films. This one looks nothing like a past Marvel film. So it's nice now that we're getting the break from it. It's like you wouldn't even expected it to have tied in with the MCU up until the very last tiny little bit of the trailer when he's just like, with Steve Rogers and Tony Stark now deceased and passed on, who will lead the Avengers? And one of the guys like, I could lead the Avengers, and they all laughed. And like, that bit is the one bit I was like, oh, so that's how it ties in.
Well, yeah, I mean, the rough idea is that they've been living on Earth for thousands of years, sort of shepherding the human race. So it looks like it's going to follow them right the way from when they arrive through to present day. But it's things like, they're going to have to show why they didn't get involved with Thanos and things like that. And there's a lot of unanswered questions, but I think it seems like, all of a sudden, why they are. And I wonder if they are then going to be majorly involved in future, whether it's just still going to end with them like, we are still not getting involved. This was just a movie about them, so it's a bit more self-contained, or whether they are going to be like, all right, okay, I'm going to go and lead the Avengers now. So
I think it'll tie in, but I don't think they're going to be used as much as what I think people will be like hoping for. I think coming through.
I just don't know how interesting, excuse me, the characters would be in terms of. Well, I don't know. Just even things like costumes and powers and whatnot. There's something about the current stable and some of the ones that are coming up which are very iconic. I just don't know whether any of these have got that to stand out as a troop. Brilliant, and I think it's going to bring in a lot of the cosmic stuff. I mean, it's got to. Without, I don't want to sort of go into the whole story of it, but you've got. If we're having a Fantastic Four film, are we going to get Galactus? And this would start to nudge us in that direction of being able to have Galactus.
Yeah, and that's probably the reason why you've literally gone out and done it, isn't it? It's got to have been. To be fair.
Yeah. But, supposedly when Marvel decide they're going to make a movie, they sort of take pitches for ideas from different directors and writers, and her pitch was just, they said it was so unlike, anything else that we'd heard of. We were like, yeah, this is the way to go. And I like that. At least they're trying different things. I'm sure we'll still get the, ridiculous, huge blockbuster, crazy things, but it's nice to have something a bit different. It reminded me almost of, I don't know if you've ever seen Cloud Atlas.
No, I never got around to it.
It kind of got slated a lot, but I really like it. It's very long, but it's a really interesting idea, and the main thing is it's set over, not even thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, if not more, with different actors playing the same sort of the same characters throughout, but different generations of this character. But yeah, it feels a little bit like that, but hopefully it won't be as long and boring and drawn out as far as other people are concerned. So
fair enough.
I still liked it. Watch that again.
While we are speaking of different things from Marvel.
All right, okay. I was going to move on to games then, but okay, let's stick with it.
Have you watched the first episode of MODOK?
Oh, no, I haven't yet. I have not. I will do.
Oh, my days.
Okay. In a good way?
Days. It is exactly... And the weirdest thing is loads of the review... Like, every review is good for it. There's not been, like, a bad review for it. But one of the reviews, the bits I took from it, was when they said it wouldn't be hard for it to say it's the best Marvel show that's been put on Disney Plus so far.
Okay.
And I was like,
wow. Really?
Like, I read that snippet before I watched it. And don't get me wrong, like, it's not by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
like still, I'd hands down put Winter Soldier and Falcon above it.
Fair enough.
But it is genius. It is amazingly funny. And when I say amazingly funny, it's because it's done by the Robot Chicken guys.
Yeah.
Like, Robot Chicken has to be so rapid with their jokes that you literally can't stop just to try and take anything in. It's just like, right, like joke. And with this, they've had to try and pace it down because it's like a half-hour show, not a sketch show. So they've tried to slow it down, but they haven't been able to put the brakes on completely. So like every other minute, there's just something so bizarre that's happening that you can't stop laughing. Like, the MODOK is a fantastic character in this. Like, he's amazing. I didn't know much about him, but you get to know bits and pieces from the literally.
There's only one episode, right, so far?
Yeah, so far they're doing it. That's the only.
Yeah, it's weekly because it's Hulu, really.
Yeah, because it shouldn't. It, like with Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision and stuff, I get why. It's like, oh, you want people to talk about it and stuff like that, and it's something nice to have. With this, you could quite happily just stick it all on.
Yeah,
you binge watch it all. It's a stop motion, basically, animated show which comes through, and it follows MODOK outside of his insane "I want to take over the world" schemes,
right,
into his family life as well. And I don't want to ruin it, because you please, when we finish watching reading this, when we finish doing this, can you just watch it? Because it's only 25 minutes and it's genius. I wholeheartedly recommend just if you can get a 7-day trial for Disney Plus, if you haven't got it already, just get it for this. It's so funny. It's well and truly worth watching. And yeah, I'm always going to say his name wrong. Patton Oswalt.
Yeah,
who does he voices MODOK.
Okay.
In it as well. And we've got teasers for a guy who's coming into it, which is Nathan Fillion. He's going to be playing a superhero at some point, who's coming into this. But it's not based in the MCU, this one, so it's literally just a crazy, he can do whatever he wants. And yeah, but you do meet famous heroes and all that sort of stuff. Everything is in this show.
It almost sounds like their version of the Harley Quinn cartoon. It's not based on anything else, not in any other universe, but you're going to start to see lots of weird caricature versions of the Marvel heroes.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I mean, with this one, you get to see Iron Man in this one. I won't say what happens, but you
Right.
get to meet Iron Man in this one, and it's only for like about a minute. But it's because MODOK's so no, he's not stupid, obviously, because he's one of the smartest people in the world, but he does something so ridiculous that's the reason Iron Man turned up.
Right. Okay.
To stop it. So it's a brilliant moment, but you can't stop laughing. And yeah, I was gonna say it's 100% well worth a watch. I could not stop laughing the entire way through it, and it was one of the few shows that I've gone like, I'm gonna watch the next one. And
Cool.
it's like,
and it's not that.
it's only the one. Like I can't believe I can't actually really watch it yet, which was frustrating. So I went back and started trying to catch back up again with Invincible. So I'm now on episode 5. So I'm getting there.
Okay, good. Yeah, 3 left. I think was there 8.
Yeah, there's 8 episodes.
Yeah,
so
that's good. And then you'll suddenly you'll understand the meme that seems to be everywhere.
All right, I don't think I've seen
You've
one.
avoided it. Good. It's from the last episode, and it's literally just a spoiler, massive spoiler at this stage.
Right. Okay.
So,
fair enough.
Yeah, avoid anything. So we've talked enough about movies, Reg.
We have.
And we haven't got that much long, but there's 2 games things I want to talk about. So obviously Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 was a pretty big hit, right?
It was.
Yeah, it was really good as well. I will definitely give it the nod thumbs up because it did play just like the original one, which is great.
Scratch
it's just
that
what
itch.
everyone wanted. Exactly. And it was almost a given that there would be another one, I think, because of how big a deal this was. Question is, I guess, are they going to make a brand new one from scratch, or are they going to do, Pro Skater 3 and 4 in a double pack or something like that? And the drummer, so Bam Margera's brother is a drummer in a punk band called CKY. And he did an interview on a podcast, and they were talking about the game, and they said to him, "Has CKY ever been on the soundtrack to Tony Hawk's?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, we were on the soundtrack for 3, and I'm pretty sure we're doing the new one." And that's apparently the closest to a confirmation we've got. Now, the question is then, so they were on the soundtrack to 3. Does that mean that the next one is now is going to be a remake of, well, like I say, technically 3 and 4, even though I think 4 came way later.
Yeah.
Didn't they go up? They did 3 and then they did Thug,
Underground, yeah.
and American Wasteland, and then went back and did 4. So whether they'll take those 2, I don't know, or is it going to be from the ground up? I'm not. It feels like that would be a heck of a lot easier for them to do, and we will just get yearly releases of remakes of the re-releases rather of the Tony Hawk games, and I'm kind of all right with that. But a new one would still be nice.
Yeah, I think most people now would want new. 2 was the pinnacle, was the masterpiece of Tony Hawk's, and while the rest were good, nothing, in my opinion, lived up to 2. So I think
some of the gameplay mechanics they brought in with Underground and American Wasteland, though, I think were way better than 2 in terms of playability. Yeah, 2 just was the one that just took off, and everyone is so used to it, and everyone has those moves and the maps memorized. But I think they were better games. But they did the right thing in terms of bringing the iconic one back, I think. But yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it would at least add more playability to the whole thing, and it would keep it. Because they did change the way the game played. It would keep it interesting, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not sure which way they'll go with it. To be honest, I'm kind of fine with either way.
Yeah, I would prefer new ones, but if they're going to bring back 3 and 4, it's another nice opportunity to play them. Yeah. And while we are on the subject, I know you did have one more other gaming thing you want to talk about, but while we're on the subject of old school games making a comeback, some bloody good news, Dan.
Right.
Also going back to the olden conversation we had near the beginning of the pod about zombies.
Okay.
What's your favourite zombie game?
Favorite zombie game.
That's right, Dan. That's mine too. Zombies Ate My Neighbors was fantastic, and I'm glad that was your choice.
All right, okay. I saw a copy of Stubbs the Zombie in CEX the other day on the original Xbox for £120, and I was like, "What? When did that suddenly have value?"
It's because they've remastered it, haven't they, and brought it back out again.
Oh yeah, so let's buy the original.
So now everyone's loving it. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I need that for my collection now."
No,
and it's gone stupidly huge.
Weird. I don't even remember it being that great a game, but anyway,
it wasn't. That's the sad thing. It really was.
Yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a classic.
It is. So obviously, Lucasfilm games have now obviously come back out again and said they're going to start, doing some new games and bring back some of the old classics. So they teamed up with .emu, and they're bringing out enhanced versions of both Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol, which, in my eyes, I don't know why people didn't love it as much as Zombies Ate My Neighbors, because Ghoul Patrol was an awesome game. It was, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, it will always be the cult classic. But Ghoul Patrol was still a great game. And to bring it back with co-op and actually putting save bits in now, because you used to have to use passwords, if you remember correctly, back in the olden days.
Okay.
You used to have a bit of paper, and every time you complete the level, you get a password. And you wrote down the password to continue on.
You would buy the latest edition of Sega Power, and you would get the codes out of that.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm just looking at Ghoul Patrol. I do not remember that game at all.
Good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I loved them both. Like I was obsessed with Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the SNES. It was just an awesome game. And then when Ghoul Patrol came out, I was like, nice. So I, obviously got slightly addicted to that as well. But damn, I loved that game. It was so good. And
I didn't even know there was a sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But yeah, interesting.
So that's coming out now. It's going to be £14.99 of your English
for the both of them,
and for the pair of them combined in the dual pack on both PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Steam, and GOG. And as always with these types of things, Limited Run are going to be doing crazy physical versions of the games as well.
Of course, we wouldn't have it any other way.
No, but if you're like, I do love my local co-op go around murder things game, and I like it a bit more D&D themed.
Okay.
Obviously, we've got the new Dark Alliance game, which is coming out.
Right.
Which looks, awesome. It genuinely does look great, and that's coming out next month, the 22nd of June. If you can't wait any longer, and you've been living under a rock for the past week, if you go onto any of your console stores, you'll find the original Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is now on there for you to be able to purchase and play through.
All right, okay.
These games were ace back in the day, and when I first heard that this was the thing, I wanted to talk about it last week, but obviously I was unavailable to cast to the pod. I was like, oh my days, that on the Switch is going to be awesome. Hopefully they'll then do Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, because that was just awesome. But I genuinely enjoyed Dark Alliance, playing it with Dave many times through, because it was so much fun. And like back in the day, like thinking about it now, for that type of game, if someone said to me, oh yeah, if you want to play that now, give me 35 quid, I'd be like, no. But back in the day I was like, oh, 35, yeah, bargain. She's got so much playability from it. Like, amazing. So now it's actually out on the Switch, on the PlayStation and Xbox. And how much would you be willing to pay for it, Dan?
So just a straight re-release.
Just a straight re-release. They've done nothing to it at all. Literally, just re-release it.
Okay, they've just made it so it will actually play, and it doesn't go like 100 miles an hour like Commandos does. I would not want to pay more than £10 to £15, but I wouldn't. That's probably even a lot. But I'm guessing it's 30 quid.
It is 30 English pounds.
Real.
When the new one is going to be coming out for 35 quid. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's not even Dark Alliance 1 and 2. Like, it's literally the first one that they've done nothing to but added widescreen support. so that it's not going to have the big black boxes all over your screen.
Yeah.
For fucking 30 quid?
I mean, that pretty much means that no one's going to buy it, right? I can't imagine that is not the entire community's reaction to it.
Oh, no, I imagine there's going to be quite a few people that are like, oh, sound. But 30 fucking quid is just ridiculous.
That is.
I mean, like, even Shenmue 1 and 2, when that came out, was only coming out like 20 quid.
Yeah.
You know, and that was just a straight re-release like this one. It's not even like a hit, you know, online. There's no online play to it, so you literally got to play at local co-op. So they haven't even added that to it. They've added nothing to it at all. It's genuinely just that. But the amount of people that are like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome, definitely getting that. Yeah, can't wait for that one. It's a bit steep, but
really,
sod it, I'll play it. And I'm like, wow.
I figure that these people would already own it and would already probably be smart enough to know how to get it to play properly, like run it through DOSBox or something like that, where it'll then run at a decent speed. But no, they'll just spend 30 quid. Okay, fair enough. Why not?
Just mental. Don't quite get it. Like, I was looking forward to be like, ooh, yeah, I'll definitely play that again on the Switch. I really enjoyed that, but I'm not spending 30 quid on it.
Give it time. Steam sales are wonderful things.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Well, just to wrap it up, I've been getting pretty in depth with Final Fantasy VII Remake. You'll be pleased to hear it. To the point where I'm contemplating, because I'm at the same time on my Vita when we're watching something on TV, I'm playing Persona 4 Golden.
Nice.
And that's taking its time to drag me in. It's been a bit linear so far, and it's just starting to open up the dungeons, so it's getting a bit better. But to the point where I'm like, I want to know more about this story. I want to be able to know what is different about the remake. You know, where the story's branching off, and, you know, did this character die when they did in this, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm contemplating stopping Persona and picking up 7, the original 7, which I already own. And then I'll eventually be able to play 8, and, you know, I can tell you how much better it is, or whatever you think.
Or whatever I think. It's not your opinion. It's exactly what I think, which is correct.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll see how I feel.
8 is hands down the best Final Fantasy game of all time. Yeah. I will die on that hill.
Exactly. So I will get to it. But I'm on about chapter 15, and there's 18 chapters, so I am very close to the end. By the way. So, yes. And the good thing is, it's pretty much within the first 7 or 8 hours of playing the original Final Fantasy VII, I'll be pretty much up to date with the story, right? Because it's
pretty much.
Literally, it's Midgar, and that's it. So, anyway, have you heard about the action RPG Souls-Light spin-off of Final Fantasy Origin, which apparently is going to be based in the world of the very, very, very first original Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's an alternate world, isn't it, from the very first one?
Yeah.
Which they're doing, which just sounds really bizarre.
It's Team Ninja doing it as well, so
I already own Final Fantasy Origins. This is what was confusing for me.
Final Fantasy Origins. Well, no, it's Final Fantasy Origin singular.
Right, I was going to say, because I own that already. That's the one on the PS1, which was the re-release of 1 and 2 together.
Okay, yes, I can see that. I've just Googled it. I remember the cover. Yeah, well, no, this is going to be a PS5 exclusive.
Timed exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. PC release later on. So, yeah, Team Ninja did Neo, and apparently it's going to just be a very, very similar sort of game in style to that and Dark Souls, which sounds interesting. And probably the most interesting bit is not that it'll matter to either of us, because neither of us own PlayStation 5s, but it's probably going to have a like an alpha demo released. I think it said in June, but yeah, pretty soon. I can't see the date that I read, but actually pretty soon, June or July, whenever E3 was supposed to be.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be July, isn't it? It's coming out because Square Enix just started announcing loads of stuff, haven't they? Is what they're starting to come through with, because they've just announced there's going to be a new Dragon's Quest game as well released this year.
Right, fair enough.
So that's coming out. I'm going to get more information on that in August. So I think they'll probably release the thing in July, and then this is going to be August. Yeah. And then we'll hear more about.
It feels like this year's E3 is going to be pretty good. You know what I mean? There's been quite a few sort of letdown years, but I feel like we're at the point where PS5 now and Xbox have both been out for that that year or whatever. It's time for the big guns to start to come out. People have had time to learn how to make the best out of it, so I'm quite excited for this year. Even though it's not I mean, do you know what? It doesn't really matter that it's not a proper big in-person E3, because we never watched that. We just watched the live stuff, don't we? Or the reveals, the keynotes or whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, that'll be exciting. Looking forward to it.
No, and you know what else I'm looking forward to?
Go on.
I'm looking forward to the fact that Free Radical Design.
Oh yes,
reopened up a new Deep Silver studio. So Time Splitters is a coming back.
Yeah, a new Time Splitters, which I don't know about. I loved Time Splitters. Yeah, both of them, Time Splitters and Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 1 was on PlayStation 2, wasn't it? And then Time Splitters 2 was also on the Xbox. Am I remembering that right? I don't think
it was on the Xbox as well. It was it's on the PS2 and Xbox.
And I remember going around to my friend's house, and we would play a bit of Tony Hawk's and we play a bit of Time Splitters. And that was what we would do, the multiplayer stuff. And then when I got an Xbox, it was Time Splitters 2 and it was Halo, deathmatch sort of stuff. And I loved them, but I don't know how well they're necessarily going to translate to today. I feel like they're just going to battle royale it.
No,
wasn't any to sort of particularly remember. So it's all about the multiplayer, right?
Well, to be fair, most people really enjoyed it mainly for the single player, and the actual multiplayer was the added bonus, obviously, because the map creators were great.
Yeah,
the game modes they put in it were fantastic. So they don't have to worry. They can literally just release multiplayer games, just online multiplayer, shoot fest, whatever they want to do with that. Or just do it Call of Duty, where they put loads of money into the actual, campaign part, and no one plays it, and you just do the multiplayer, which is the bit I'm looking forward to, because I really love the comedy they put into the single player, and the stories are great. But yeah, the multiplayer games are fantastic, and it's mainly come about because obviously people have been wanting remasters and stuff for years, and then they put the arcade in Homefront 2, and they put here's the first 2 levels of it, but what people didn't know was, you could play Time Splitters 2 in Homefront 2.
Right. Well, at least that going for it.
But what people didn't know was the fact that there was actual code for the full game to be unlocked somewhere in the game.
Right.
But then apparently during they had to go back and do some shit to the actual Homefront 2, and that game code got lost, and they had no other copies of this game code. So the game code for Time Splitters 2 is now just out in the ether somewhere. So they were paying people money to try and see if they could find it and sort it all out. But people have been finding this arcade now and going like, oh, wow, yeah, look, Time Splitters is amazing. So they've gone, right, okay, you've asked for it. We finally listened, and we've been working on plans to get the franchise back to life again.
I mean, I hope it's good. I feel like it might be a bit of rose-tinted glasses. That's my worry, but because it's the team pretty much behind GoldenEye, wasn't it? That was the big selling point of it.
Yeah, but
when Time Splitters first one came out, I remember that being the hype. Like, yeah, look, the people who did people who did GoldenEye are doing something new, and how rose-colored glasses have worked with that. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm worried, that's all, but end of the day, I'm probably not necessarily the target for it.
Fair dues. No, I am looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a rather nice experience to have it back. So
yeah, well, you're going to need to get yourself a console, aren't you, Reg?
I am indeed, and I will be looking forward to purchasing one of them. However, Sony has just stated that they expect the shortages
another year.
PlayStation to go on for another year, so probably won't be until 2023.
they still sold 2-1 on Xboxes, though, haven't they?
Yeah, I was going to say it's still like one of the best-selling consoles. I don't understand how when there's been none available to fucking purchase.
Exactly.
And one thing I don't get while we're talking about stuff being in short supply and whatnot.
Okay.
Have you seen how mental the fucking craze has gone again for the Pokemon cards over in America?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's YouTubers generally, it's their fault, and Twitch streamers. It's just because of all the unboxings and stuff like that, and you know about the whole Logan Paul thing where he bought an original Gen 1. I think he bought 2 original Gen 1 boxes and then sold each pack individually before they got opened. So he like doubled his money just by selling the packs individually and then opened them on stream and was like, okay, this is at whatever. This is their pack. Look what you got. Oh, you got a shiny Charizard. Things like that.
Wow. So someone actually paid money for him to open up their cards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but he spent
That's
6
ridiculous.
figures on this very original box, like from the first ever release. And actually, I think he bought 2
as well,
and then did that. So yeah, oh, absolutely. And because there's a couple of cards in there, especially that are worth pretty much almost what he paid for the box. So
yeah,
I mean, obviously he made money back. I don't think anyone got. I don't think it was a very good box, if I remember right. I don't think anyone got their money's worth out of the individual packs then that they bought.
Oh really? Gutted.
But I don't know. They might not have at the time, but who knows? It's probably doubled in price by now.
Yeah. Well, I am potentially going to be rolling in bank as well then, if that's the case.
Why have you got Pokemon cards somewhere?
I've got Pokemon cards now, Dan.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am now in that unfortunate situation where McDonald's have Pokemon as a Happy Meal toy.
Of course they do.
So you get Pokemon cards, and I've now got Oliver pointing to the Pokemon cards and the telly to be like, can you put that on the telly? Okay. And then I'm like, oh, no. So Ash is like, oh, yeah, Pokemon. Yeah, we love Pokemon growing up. And I was like, uh-oh. And Oliver's like, like pointing to that one. I'm like, Rockface. I think he's called Rockface. Because I don't know anything about it. It's now surpassed my knowledge of, like, I could tell you all about Thomas the Tank Engine, Fireman Sam, Teen Titans Go, like Thundercats, all that sort of stuff. Brilliant, not a problem.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's you, dude.
I was just like, I don't know. I honestly have no idea who any of these are now. But he was loving it. He was literally like, as soon as they started laughing, he would start laughing in it, and like he would copy everything they were doing. Like he thought everything was amazing.
Okay.
And like he was loving life, and I'm like, oh.
Well, the plus of that is, Reg, that eventually you can wean him off Pokemon and get him onto Golden Sun.
I can't wait for that, Dan. But that needs to happen like now.
Yeah. I know.
So I can't. I've only been doing it for like I think it's a week now that they've been turning into Happy Meals have turned into Pokemon over here. And like I've had a week of Pokemon, and I'm like, I don't understand how parents have done this for years.
You think Pokemon Happy Meal stuff's bad? They're doing BTS, and McDonald's have got stuff coming up soon. Apparently, that's going to be a little bit mental.
Just don't get. I mean, we've got to say, so they don't do Happy Meal breakfasts.
No,
like that's what I find utterly ridiculous. But when we started him at football practice now, and he wasn't really that bothered about going football practice. So we sort of like, no, not bullied, but we were like, hey, if you go football, you can have a Happy Meal breakfast. And he was like, pardon? I'm like, yeah, have a Happy Meal breakfast. And then we went to McDonald's, and I was like, right, can I have a Happy Meal, but with like the breakfast stuff in? And they were like, no. I was like, can I have a chicken nugget Happy Meal then? No. Huh. Okay. Can I pay for the Happy Meal toy? She was like, yes. I was like, cool. Can I pay for a Happy Meal box? And a drink? She was like, in fact, I'll tell you what, can I pay for the Happy Meal box and the toy? And then I'll just have a sausage McMuffin meal, please. And I'll put it in the box myself. And the woman started laughing, and she was like, "You know what? I'm just going to do it for you." And I was like, "Thank you."
Fair enough. Well, there
So
you go. You just invented something new there, Reg.
Got his little bespoke Happy Meal breakfast, so he was buzzing about it. But it just meant me add more more Pokemon cards. But they look like the ones that we used to we used to have when back in our day when they first came out. Like, I never used to have them, but it's got the blue backing with the Pokemon ball on it.
I mean, they're real Pokemon cards, Reg.
Yeah, I didn't know if there would be like different types of I don't know, Dan. I'm clutching at straws, but the Pokemon cards and he's obsessed. So
I've heard.
I'm wondering if I can
tearing McDonald's apart. It's like a repeat of the Szechuan sauce whole incident apparently in the States. So
I'm wondering if I can sell these for bank. If I can do one of these unboxing ones.
I don't know whether there are any, chase cards, like any super rare cards they're doing, but yeah, I'm not so sure, Reg.
I'm thinking maybe with my spin on what the characters are.
Okay.
Then maybe I could get it for the comedy value. Because I'd be like, oh, look, it's, fuck-nose dick face.
Wow.
Or, someone not like that.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could,
as long as you're not teaching Oliver those names.
It could be fine. Smiley Rat Boy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do.
No, I don't know it anymore, Don. But
neither do I. And neither do the people listening.
So that's why we leave it on that note.
Exactly. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Dan.
A long one as well, Reg. Lots to talk about.
There is. Work will be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, and we will see you again same time next week. Well, we have something awesome coming up on Friday, which you.
I was going to say, we never actually.
A special Nerdo D&D spin-off type thingy-mabob. So anyway, you'll find out on Friday, everyone.
Yay! I want to talk about it, so we'll talk about it next week when you've listened to it.
Yes.
And we've played one more to make sure that it is actually there.
Exactly. And thanks again. See you later.
Doodles.